Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm Wes Decker, and as you know, I usually come up with my own zany ideas, but this one from Red Robin is worthy of me at least trying to ride its coattails. Now through the end of the Lenten season, the restaurant chain has a promotion in place aimed at attracting one very high-profile would-be customer who goes by the Pope. That's right, the leader of the worldwide Catholic Church, that Pope. In an effort to lure the pontiff to dine at Red Robin, the restaurant is giving away Wild Pacific crab cake burgers on Fridays, a $15 value, in exchange for tweets to Pope Francis's official account at Pontifex using the hashtag #RopeInThePope. The Pope is due to visit the U.S. in September, making stops that include Washington, D.C. and the surrounding area. So, as cool as it would be to see the Pope mobile roll up outside the Valley Mall, imagine it pulling into the Antietam Cable parking lot and the Bishop of Rome then joining me right here on the set. Now, I have to admit, I would feel a little awkward telling him that white is one of the worst colors he could wear under these lights. And as for the big hat, do I kindly ask him to take it off, or do I put one on to balance things out? What I really think works in my favor, though, is that Francis has already established himself as simpler, less formal, and non-traditional. So is there really a better forum for all of that? I rest my case. Clearly, it's time to start our own Twitter campaign to get the Pope on Inside Sports next September, just in time to talk football, volleyball, cross country, and soccer. You know he's had to have played some soccer. He's from Argentina, the same native country as Lionel Messi. Enough said. As for today's show, we're all about the postseason and tournaments, from North Stars hockey to private school hoops to county wrestling, and we start with the basketball seedings and matchups for the public schools. Coach Kevin Murphy of Williamsport joins me to provide insight on the girls' brackets right after this.
For over 25 years, Tony's Pizzeria has been serving authentic Italian cuisine. Open daily for lunch and dinner. Stop by today and enjoy one of their many house favorites, made fresh from scratch daily, in the newly expanded and remodeled dining area. Serving a full liquor bar, beer, and wine, Tony's 50-person banquet room is perfect for your next celebration. Dine in, take out, or delivery. Come see what's new at Tony's Pizzeria Restaurant and Grill, 10 East Salisbury Street in Williamsport.
Behind every great child, there is a great foundation. Premier Martial Arts will empower your child and give them a premier foundation to success. Our instructors have the passion to teach classes designed to build premier skills. Your child will develop greater self-control, confidence, and concentration. Premier Martial Arts will take your child up the path of greatness. Call Premier Martial Arts today.
Welcome back to the show, and we continue now with playoff basketball. The playoffs are here for the public schools, and joining me now is Williamsport girls coach Kevin Murphy. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Wes.
Congratulations on the number 2 seed in 2A West. I know it's been a long road there, and this region so difficult. We've talked about it as the season has unfolded, but now it's time to get down to brass tacks. You get Catoctin to start, a team that you've handled twice pretty well, but once you look behind that, we'll talk about that a little bit. But first things first, this Catoctin game upcoming. How do you handle that, given the fact that they've been an opponent that you've had such an easy time with so far this season?
Yeah, the playoffs are a different beast. You know, we learned that last year coming into the playoffs. It was the first year of my coaching career as a varsity coach, and you know, it's just a different feel, different intensity. So, you know, Catoctin's got 3 or 4 seniors, and I'm sure they don't want to lose their final game to us. So we're going to have to come out focused and be prepared to play from the start. And I think if we get out early and have a good start against them, we'll be in good shape.
Now, you've won the last 8 games by an average of almost 32 points per game. Has this latter part of the season set you up enough for what you're going to get now?
Yeah, that's a concern of mine, because we haven't had to play, except for when we played Boonesboro and St. Mary Grady in the second half of the season, we haven't had to play for 32 minutes. And fatigue factor worries me a little bit in the playoffs, because we've had to, you know, we played 3.5 quarters, but we do run the floor extremely well. We transition constantly. We're very aggressive defensively, getting in passing lanes and pressuring people. So we do play pretty hard those 3.5 quarters. And you know, it's hard, because you don't want to take the kids and say, hey, let's start off and take it a little easier. You want to go right after somebody, and that's what our calling card has been, is we've gotten after people from the start, and then we've just continued to play hard the entire game.
Well, you mentioned Boonesboro. Boonesboro gets the number 3 seed, and of course, Williamsport and Boonesboro could be on a crash course here as if things play out, according to seed anyway. So looking ahead to that, I know you don't want to look beyond Catoctin, but a third matchup with Boonesboro just doesn't get any easier, I think, facing a team for a third time, does it?
It doesn't get any easier, especially against Boonesboro, because Boonesboro and Williamsport are such rivals. Sam Connolly and I are good friends. It's the last thing we want to do is have to play each other in the playoffs. You know, it's just one of those things. And we're such mirror images of each other. We play good defense. We're aggressive. We play hard. You know, it'll probably be another one of those 40 to 38 games that you saw the last time we were televised against them when it was 40 to 32. So playing somebody a third time is never easy, and especially after you've beaten them twice.
Let's go over to 1A West Section 2. Over there, Smithsburg, the number 2 seed, will play the 3 seed in Clear Spring, which obviously is an interesting matchup from the standpoint that it's intra-county. Smithsburg has won both of those games this year. Smithsburg's been playing much better, but it's interesting. They lost Cassidy Vega. They've gone 500 since she went down. Got a big confidence-boosting win over Middletown, but then they lose to an FSK team that you wouldn't suspect they would lose to. And now it's a whole new world for both of those teams.
Yeah, it is. And both those teams have had some surprising wins this year, and also probably a couple losses, like you said, to FSK.
Right.
But I know that trip to FSK takes it out of you. It's never an easy thing to go up there. But the one thing that I've been impressed with Smithsburg is after losing Vega, Coach Chip Bakewell's done a really good job with them. I mean, they've really played well. They're scoring. I think they scored 53 in a loss to FSK, which is a lot of points. So they've kind of found their niche after losing her. And I'm really impressed, and I think they got a really good chance of getting all the way to the section final because they'd have to face, I think if they beat Clear Spring, they have to face Manchester Valley. Well, Manchester Valley's best player is out for the season. She just hurt her foot. I think a tendon in her foot is injured or something like that. They could get all the way to Southern Garrett, which that's the section final. That'd be a pretty impressive year right there in itself.
Oh, no question, bouncing back from just one win a season ago. Over in 1A West Section 1, Hancock, the number 4 seed there. They've lost their last 4, coming at 5-14. They'll get the 5th seed, Northern Garrett, in a sectional semi there. 3A West Section 1, the 5 seed, North Hagerstown, at 6-14. The Hubs have finished up the regular season with a record of 3-3 down the stretch. This is a team that can be dangerous at times. At least they have some pieces there that could certainly pose problems for other teams.
Absolutely. They've played Oakdale tough the last week of the season. They played Boonesboro for half very tough. You know, they've got a couple of pieces there with Natalie Carlin and Mercedes Rideout that are good guards. And I'll tell you what, I think this time of year you need 2 things. You need teams need to have good guard play, and they need to be able to defend. Whether they're playing zone, man, you got to be able to defend people. And I think they've got good guards. So against Frederick, they lost him by 4 the first time. It's a winnable game for them.
Yeah, as I said, North Hagerstown, the 5 seed there against the 4 seed in Frederick on the road. South Hagerstown is the 6 seed, 4-15 for the season. They've won 2 of their last 4, and they get a huge challenge against the number 3 seed Linganore, a team that handled them very easily at the beginning of the season.
I saw Linganore play about 2 weeks ago against Oakdale. I was very impressed. They play hard, nasty, man-to-man, half-court man-to-man defense. They're not real big. They're kind of undersized, but they're aggressive, and they're going to give South a lot of trouble because South, where they've had struggles this year, the 2 times we played them was when in their guard play, struggling against pressure, and Linganore is going to get after them pretty good with man-to-man pressure.
Urbana is the number 1 seed there in 3A West, Section 1. As for your Williamsport Wildcats, the number 1 seed there is Oakdale. Just how tough a team is this Oakdale squad? You saw them early in the season, but it doesn't seem like there's been any fall off with them as the year's gone along.
No, they've evolved into a pretty good basketball team. Early in the year, they were okay, but and they were good, don't get me wrong, but they've gotten better because Liz Mormon was out. That's one of their post players. We played them, and then they've got another girl that transferred in from Australia who's 6'2". They go about 9 deep. That's where they can get you. You know, I think we can, and the teams like Boonesboro and ourselves can play with them. It's that 9 deep. It's that depth that's going to catch you maybe in the 3rd or 4th quarter. How do you handle that? They come after you in waves with a lot of pressure, and they're loaded. They're good. You know, they're really good.
What did you learn last year, your first year as a head coach, coaching in a playoff game that will help you this year? Yeah,
that's what I said at the beginning. It's a totally different animal. You know, it's more pressure packed. The gym, we're going to have a doubleheader that evening, so it's going to be there. Both boys team and girls team are playing, so you're going to have a big crowd. Handling that and keeping your emotions in check, not only for myself but for the players, is big. And actually, last year's loss to Middletown is going to be huge for us. Our kids are hungry. They know what it felt like last year going home like that on your home court. And I think a big advantage for us is we've only lost one game at home all year this year. So I think that plays in us, and I think we'll be ready to play Friday night.
Well, good luck on Friday night, Coach, and going forward, and thanks for being here.
Thanks, Wes.
I'm back right after this. More playoffs to talk about. The boys draw with Coach Kevin Hartman from North Hagerstown in just a moment.
For over 25 years, Tony's Pizzeria has been serving authentic Italian cuisine. Open daily for lunch and dinner. Stop by today and enjoy one of their many house favorites, made fresh from scratch daily, in the newly expanded and remodeled dining area. Serving a full liquor bar, beer and wine, Tony's 50-person banquet room is perfect for your next celebration. Dine in, take out, or delivery. Come see what's new at Tony's Pizzeria Restaurant and Grill, 10 East Salisbury Street in Williamsport.
Don't give in to the winter blahs when bad weather hits. Sleet, ice, and snow days are perfect days to cuddle up with Antietam Cable. Antietam Digital Cable offers a huge selection of on-demand movies and shows to watch when you're snowed in. It's like having a multiplex movie theater right in your own home. Ordering is simple. Go to Channel 1 to make your selection, and your choice plays instantly. Pause, fast forward, rewind. You're in control. Stay warm, stay inside, and make Snow Day Movie Day with video on demand from Antietam Cable.
Behind every great child, there is a great foundation. Premier Martial Arts will empower your child and give them a premier foundation to success. Our instructors have the passion to teach classes designed to build premier skills. Your child will develop greater self-control, confidence, and concentration. Premier Martial Arts will take your child up the path of greatness. Call Premier Martial Arts today.
Welcome back to the show, and we continue now with more playoff basketball. And joining me to talk about the boys' brackets, the seedings, and the draw, here is Kevin Hartman from North Hagerstown. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Thank you.
I know that the tail end of this season has been a bit of a challenge for your team. You wind up 10-12 as far as the regular season is concerned, but all year long, you knew, and this has pretty much been the rule of thumb at North Hagerstown in years recently anyway, not a whole lot of size to combat some of these bigger teams. But tell me about where you feel your team is right now with this fresh start coming up.
We've been in many of the games that we've had here at the end, really all season long. I've been very pleased with how we've played, we've battled, we scrapped. Many of the opposing coaches even have said the same thing. So I feel like we're rounding into where we want to be. Never at any point did I feel like, we're not doing what we could do, and that tough schedule, like you said, has prepared us for what the playoffs are going to offer.
And you get Linganore to start the playoffs, a team that you're familiar with, at least as it goes back to the holiday mixer that you had earlier this season. So what's your feeling on starting with Linganore? What are you talking to your team about so far as they're concerned?
Regarding size, it is a team that we have a chance. If you look at matchups, they don't have a huge advantage like some of the teams that will have maybe a 6'4", 6'5" guy in the lane. Quickness-wise and shooting-wise, they are about the same as what we will offer. So we're looking forward to the matchup. Of course, with the playoffs, everybody starts 0-0, and you just go from there and see where you may end up.
Well, in the 3A West, of course, this is one of the tougher regions, I think. 2A and 3A West, both very tough. 3A West, South Hagerstown gets the #1 seed there with an 18-3 record coming in. They just lost their last game, and I know Coach Naylor all season long has talked about we need to play better defense. Didn't score a whole lot of points in that last game against Winters Mill. From a coach's standpoint, let me ask you, if you had a 17-game winning streak, you lose that last game and the playoffs are right around the corner, that's probably a better time to lose than to lose in the playoffs, certainly. But is that a good wake-up call for a team, do you think?
I think anytime you lose, you get their attention. And I know any coach would say you want to be playing your best as you hit the playoffs. I'm sure Coach Naylor, being a friend of mine and as an opposing coach, you get to say, now guys, here's what we can't do going forward. So I'm sure he has their attention right now.
Yeah, no question of that. South gets a first-round bye, and then they will play the winner of the Frederick-Tuscarora game. And Frederick, a team that beat them earlier this season, but that was very early in the season. Let's go over to 2A West, Section 1 there. Williamsport is the #2 seed, coming with a 16-5 record. They've lost 2 of their last 3, but you talk about a rough tail end of the season. Got some very formidable teams there at the end. What have you noticed about this Williamsport team this season? Because I had Coach Grable on, we talked about it. You know, they weren't expected to do a whole lot this season, but you look up and they're 11 games above 500.
Absolutely. I think he's done a great job with the team. Youngsters that have rounded into mature players now, and along with the 2 Michaels, Riley and Kelball, they're their leaders. They will go as far as those 2 can carry them. They have some length. It's deceptive length. They get it out in the perimeter. They're tough to get by, and they all rebound so well. So I think they're going to be tough to deal with once they get in that 2A mix.
And Williamsport hosts Catoctin in a 2A quarterfinal. Beat Catoctin by 39 and 25 points already this season. Play the winner of the 6 seed versus the 3 seed, Walkersville and Mountain Ridge there. Now the 5 seed in 2A West Section 1 is Boonesboro. Comes in with a 7-13 record. They still have 1 game to play against Allegheny. 5 losses by 8 points or less. You can kind of relate to that this season. And Boonesboro, a tougher team than I think their record indicates.
Absolutely. I know they defeated us at their place in the game that we even defeated them. It was a tight game going into the second half. To me, they could be a sleeper. The only reason I say that is they have length, they have size, they have confidence, they have guard play that they'll be able to utilize. I really feel like they're a team to watch, and because Coach Chambers has so much experience, he knows what buttons to push.
And that's a team where you do look at those players, and there are so many guys who are so similar. It's like, who do you stop? I mean, everybody does things pretty well fundamentally. 1A West Section 2, there the 3 seed is Clear Spring. Clear Spring 8-13 on the season. But again, they have some guys that if they ever seem to come together could get some things done. And we talk about this being a fresh start. They get an opening round bye, and then they play a Brunswick team that they lost to by 1 and 10 points earlier this season. So certainly right in the thick of things there. You win 1 game, all of a sudden you're playing for a section championship.
Absolutely. That's going to be a great game. Having played both teams, both gave us a fit. They both have some length, they both have shooters, they both have guards that can get up and down the floor. So I think in 1A that's going to be a very entertaining game.
And Smithsburg is the 5 seed there in 1A West Section 2, just 3-18. Haven't played a lot of defense this season, and that's kind of killed them. But they have some guys who can get hot at times. They can shoot from the outside. They have a little bit of an inside game, too. They're at number 4 North Carroll, a team they lost to by 20 back in December. So if you need something to get your attention, you look at a team that beat you by a large margin earlier in the year, you can end their year and move on at the same time. So that's a big one for Smithsburg. 1A West Section 1. Hancock at 7-12. I was mentioning to you before we went on the air and looking at it, Hancock hasn't beaten a school from the state of Maryland this season, so they would have to do that to advance. They get a first-round bye and then play the 2nd seed, Southern Garrett, coming up on Tuesday. So interesting in terms of the way that things have worked out within the brackets. Talk about your team got off to the very hot start to start the year, but you sort of qualify that a little bit by the teams that you played. And at the end of the year, these teams that you've been playing, very challenging. So it really does put you in a position, whereas some of these other teams, I think, have been playing teams that haven't had such good years, but you're sort of into that playoff mode in terms of the higher caliber opponents already.
I feel like we play a very challenging schedule, and often when that occurs, you feel like you're playing basketball that is playoff level all the time. I know you look at our record, you may think we're slumping, not getting necessarily the wins that we would like. At the same time, when you're facing that caliber of team, you know that every night you have to bring it, and there have been some times when looking at what we've done on the court, we're maybe not doing exactly what I would like as the coach, but I know the guys are getting it. They know what it takes to get a W. Hopefully, we come out ready to roll for the first playoff game. I'm pretty confident that they'll be ready to play hard. Going to Linganore, that's a tough game and a tough environment, but having been beaten by them already, I know Linganore has their attention. Tough team Linganore is, so we'll see how we come out.
Well, Coach, best of luck to you, and as always, great to see you, and thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
I'll be back right after this. I've got the county wrestling tournament, some more basketball. We've got indoor track and field, even hockey right after this.
Since 1963, you've been trusting the folks at Hagerstown Floors. It's still a family-owned and operated business featuring a variety of high-quality flooring choices for your home, like carpet, ceramic, hardwood, vinyl, and we offer floor sanding and refinishing for your existing hardwoods. And you'll find us stocked warehouse, full of flooring options for do-it-yourselfers, or take advantage of our in-house installers for expert installation. Hagerstown Floors on Virginia Avenue in Hagerstown, the trusted name in flooring since 1963.
If there's one thing my dad taught me, when life doesn't go exactly how you plan, keep it simple. Sometimes a few curveballs are thrown your way. With one visit to Bank of Charlestown, they helped me map out a strategy to start the next chapter of my life. Even though I work with my hands, I still work with people. That's what BCT does best. They're my trusted advisor for all the details and whatever comes next.
From home improvement loans and mortgages to business lines of credit, find out what a partnership with BCT can do for you. BCT, we simplify your financial life. Now in Hagerstown.
Welcome back to the show. Now, while the championship finals of the 25th annual county wrestling tournament might have been postponed 2 days because of snow, it merely delayed the inevitable, a showdown for the Clyde Downs Trophy between the reigning title holders from North Hagerstown and the all-time leaders in county tourney championships from Williamsport. Williamsport carried a slim 7.5-point lead over North into Monday's finals at Smithsburg, but the Hubs had one more wrestler alive, and the first to capture an individual county crown was one familiar with getting his hand raised at the end of the championship round. North senior Coleman McCose pinned Boonesboro's Matt Kriske a minute and 10 seconds into the second period in the 160-pound weight class to become a three-time county champ and pull the Hubs within 1.5 points of Williamsport in the team standings. Next at 170, it was the first of 8 crucial head-to-head Hub Wildcat clashes on the night as North's Dylan Brown squared off with Williamsport's Barry Lozer. Brown seized the early advantage, proceeded to open a 6-point cushion just past the midway point of the second, and went on to win a 9-5 decision that put the Hubs on top of the team standings by 2.5 points. Another North Williamsport clash followed at 182 as Ray Montez locked up with Kobe Baker. Baker played catch-up most of the bout and drew even with 30 seconds remaining in the third. The Wildcat Junior's only lead then became the only one he needed when he scored a sudden victory takedown as time expired in period number 4, making Baker a 2-time champion and putting Williamsport back ahead in the race for team supremacy, which then took a break at 195. There, Smithsburg's Bryce Scott faced off with upset finalist Raymond Breland Jr. of South Hagerstown. Breland had upended Williamsport's Austin Keetle on Saturday to earn the right to wrestle for a county title and started fast, but Scott quickly turned the tables and imposed his will to halt Breland's Cinderella ride with 19 seconds left in the opening period as the Smithsburg senior successfully defended his crown in his home gym. With 3 of the county's 5 competing schools having claimed an individual title, Boonesboro attempted to add its name to the list in the next weight class. Dakota Pfeiffer represented the Warriors at 220 against North Hagerstown's Alex Darr. And while it was Darr who built a 4-1 lead, it was Pfeiffer who showed no panic and just over halfway through the second period chalked one up for Boonesboro, which also in the big picture aided the Williamsport cause, which Austin Golden had a vested interest in the bout that followed at 285 opposite North Hagerstown's Aaron Dobson. Unfortunately for Golden and the Cats, it was Dobson who had a golden track record at this event, and he proved why again with 36 seconds left in the first period. The pin provided 6 points that vaulted North back to the top of the team standings and made Dobson a 3-time county champ. Next, under the spotlight at 106, reigning champion Hoyt Cheney of the Hubs went toe-to-toe with Williamsport's Cody Crawford in what turned out to be a back-and-forth affair. It was Cheney's reversal with 46 seconds remaining in the second that reversed the bout leader and proved to be the final lead change as the sophomore captured his second county title in as many tries while growing the North team lead to 6.5 points. And it was about to increase to 12 on the strength of Brian Stewart's nonstop onslaught versus the Wildcats' Bryce Palomar at 113. Stewart just kept bringing up the points before the match was stopped, 3 minutes and 37 seconds in with the score 18-3. The Hub freshman's tech fall gave his team 200.5 points to 188.5 for Williamsport, with 4 North wrestlers remaining and 5 Wildcats still waiting to take the mat. So Williamsport desperately needed the next one, but it would be anything but easy. At 1:20, the Hubs' Alamzan Yakazov held a 5-4 edge until the Cats' Justin Beckley evened the score with 30 seconds to go in the third. Just 12 seconds later, Beckley surged in front, grabbing a 7-5 lead over the North junior, whom he was able to hold off in the final seconds to secure a huge 4 points for Williamsport, all the while flashing 3 fingers, emblematic of the number of county titles Beckley now holds. With the Wildcats back within 8 points, North got successive dominant performances that served to squash any mystery over which team would prevail. First, Aaron Brooks denied South Hagerstown from joining the ranks of boasting an individual champion, jumping out to a 10-1 advantage against Tim Heitke at 1:26, and then pinning his shoulders to the mat 87 seconds into period number 2. Then it was Hunter Faith's turn at 1:32 to give the Hubs an insurmountable lead against Williamsport's Kobe Brady. Faith used a similar blueprint to victory as Aaron Brooks, building a lead that eventually culminated in a pinfall win, his coming 25 seconds into the third period as the North lead went to 20, with Williamsport only mathematically able to score a maximum of 18 more. The Wildcats' Tanner Canfield didn't let that dissuade him, though, as he denied Smithsburg a second champion by pinning Dylan Bryce with 36 seconds left in the 138-pound bout. It was county title number 3 for Canfield. Isaiah Brooks went after his second in the next match against Williamsport's Jerry Moschel at 1:45. Isaiah Brooks' aggressive style knocked Moschel back on his heels from the very start, and the North junior remained relentless throughout en route to a 15-5 major decision. The final bout of the tourney was perhaps the most anticipated, as 2 state-ranked wrestlers went seeking the county prize at 1:52. Boonesboro's Dalton Hawkins took a 1-0 lead with 1:25 left in the second period, but it would be Williamsport's St. John Shoup who would prevail after going in front late in the second and then shutting down the previously once-beaten Hawkins the rest of the way. Remarkably, it was the first county championship title won between 2 guys who have combined for more than 220 victories in their careers. When all the snow had been plowed away outside and the dust had settled inside on Monday, North Hagerstown was holding the Clyde Downs Trophy again. The Hubs ended up with 216.5 points to second-place Williamsport's 202.5. Congratulations to North Hagerstown, who has now won the last 2 and 3 of the last 4 county championships. Regions lie ahead this weekend for our county's guys, seeking to qualify for states the following Friday. At the 3A, 4A State Indoor Track and Field Championships on Monday, South Hagerstown's Darren Harmon may not have come back from Landover with a medal, but he did come back as the owner of a new school record. The Rebel Junior finished the 3200 in a time of 10 minutes, 5.03 seconds, a magnificent finale to his indoor campaign. Meantime, 3 respective seasons came to abrupt, unwanted ends during a recent 5-day span. Last Wednesday, the Washington County North Stars' quest for a 4th state hockey title was throttled from the start. Frederick County scored 7 goals in the Class 1A quarterfinals, opening 12 minutes and 38 seconds, and cruised to a decisive 10-2 victory. If not for 39 saves from Washington County goalie Jeremy Benda, the final could have been much worse on a night Frederick County asserted its dominance, fully exploiting the North Stars' youth by outshooting them 49-16. Washington County did finish up on a positive note, with sophomore Seth Lagruda tallying the game's final goal, his only one of the season, in the final minute and a half. The North Stars end the year 5-6-3, finishing with a losing record for just the second time in their 8-year existence. It's also the first time in the last 5 that they haven't advanced to play in the state championship game. On the hardwood, St. Maria Goretti received another hard lesson in just how difficult it is to make the Baltimore Catholic League title game, let alone simply notch a W in the tourney. The Gales rallied but came up short 56-53 in a BCL quarterfinal against St. Francis last Friday. Goretti's season concludes with a mark of 22-9. And on Sunday, St. James squandered a third-quarter lead as St. Andrews outscored the Saints by 8 in the fourth to oust St. James in the Mid-Atlantic Conference Tournament semis 63-60. The Saints finished the year 18-9. And finally, in the Mason-Dixon Christian Conference Tournament, neither county school who advanced to its respective championship game captured the title. After coming from behind to defeat Faith in its semifinal on Friday, the Grace girls were shut down by Shalom on Monday, 41-27, And following Friday's relatively easy victory over Heritage in its semi, Broad Fording's boys came up short Monday against Faith, 51-49. As for me and the show, we never come up short, and next week we won't be caught short on the public school hoops playoffs or the region wrestling results. I'll take every step to get you caught up on what's transpired. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Inside.